Let's get into the game.
Well, guys, if you're sitting in chat and really excited for this, make sure to check out StarSense. I know a couple of our mods are posting that in the chat. Make sure you vote. Do you think Seed's going to win it? Do you think Gumiho? Right now, I'm very much favoring Gumiho, but of course, the early stages of this best of 7, this game 1, could start to dictate the pace if we've seen Seed practicing more recently, or really any number of things. But of course, you know, we do have a lot of games where Terran is favored, but at this highest level, I'm not sure how much we're seeing that affect the current gameplay. We'll have to see, though, in the bottom right-hand corner of Echo. Who do we have here, Marsh?
Joining us from Team Revolution, he comes out as the Red Protoss player. Historically relevant because he beat MC in a GSL final. It's Seed.
And his opponent in the top left-hand corner, favored in this matchup, it is the blue Terran player, currently teamless, Gumiho.
Yes, and speaking of being favored, we looked into the Elegulac scores, looked at who was likely going to beat who based on professional results, but Gumiho is still active in the professional scene and Seed is not, so that may be just a little bit unfair. So instead, what we have is this, which I forgot to put up properly, so you're not getting percentages, you're just going to have to do math. If you would like to go and get StarSense, it is where you can, the app where you can go and vote for your favorite player. And you can go in here yourself and so like if you think Seed has a bigger shot than just, what is that, 14%, then vote for him. And we'll come up with that later.
Yeah, right now this is really interesting to watch what Seed's doing. Sending his first Zealot across, and this is something we have seen start to rise in the meta, and specifically PvT. The Zealot comes across, then a Probe in the Mothership Core and Adept kind of join in for an early quick assault into Gumiho's natural base. But I have not seen this actually be successful yet. It's something that when you play a player of even skill, you don't get a lot of damage done. When you play a little bit worse, often they just don't know how to react. So we'll need to see whether or not Gumiho knows how to properly react, and it looks like he already does.
Well, we got a little bit of a delay right there on building that command center. Chasing off that SCD means that you're going to be delayed 10 or so seconds, but the cost of a Zealot and nothing else, I don't know if that's really worth it.
He delayed it for a little while, and I think really what you're banking off of as Protoss is not to lose this first Cyclone, definitely, or check that, not to lose this first Adept, but the way Terrans can open up, you may see the Terran really quickly try to fly their factory over to their reactor to get double Cyclone, something like that, and there's just a couple opportunities where the Terran can caught completely off guard without production, and maybe this is up catching creep. Looks like no, though.
No. He gets away right there. Now it's Gumiho's turn to see what he can do, and that Cyclone is going to take out that, together with the Reaper, take out an Adept. So that is one Adept and one Zealot versus none.
Even though the Zealot did go down, I like the open, aggressive nature from Seed. It looks like he will finally pick up that Reaper. Do note after using that Photon Overcharge, he needs to be careful about a drop happening a little bit later, which it looks like is what Gumiho is up to. Medivac is picking up some Marines, some Widow Mines, and we also have a Liberator coming out, so it should be multi-pronged and possibly triple-pronged with the Cyclone outside of Seed's natural base.
We do have that Robo done and the Observer now done, so at least Seed can see wherever those mines do decide to burrow. But yeah, there's only... Oh no, he's got enough energy there for 2 overcharges. So if he's on the ball, and I see no reason why that shouldn't be the case, he should be able to deny any damage done by this build.
Yeah, it was a really beautiful opener. Seed rushed for that Mothership Core. Now we see double Widow Mine going to drop down. One Photon Overcharge down. Second Photon Overcharge also. And since they focus down the Widow Mines, no damage is done. And Gumiho is just kind of going to go into the natural. Maybe hope he can force some probes to pull, but it's not going to happen in the end. And I'm surprised. Seed has defended phenomenally well. Resident Englaves is just about done. And now he's looking to put the pressure on Gumiho.
Not just going to shade on by that that Cyclone right there, but Gumiho picks it up anyway. May do some shenanigans with that. Nope, just puts it back down.
Just denying the third. Generally, you will see an expand when the Protoss player attacks right here. This attack is kind of the shroud, so you can't see what's going on back at home. But this is a very interesting defense. I love this from Gumiho. Just makes a full wall. Doesn't even want to have to deal with this Adept push.
And I can't say I really blame him. Now, if you're, you know, Adepts do very well against the Marines, but this amount of Marines, I wouldn't... Oh, we left them getting just now. There's a second wall up. That's fine.
Always for a second there, it could be terrible. Looks like Gumiho does spot that observer, snipes it. Also, we have production on the way for Gumiho. No third CC. He is going to start pushing on 2 bases. Simultaneously, he's got a Liberator ready to head into Seed's natural base. But looks like actually the Adepts are going to get into Gumiho's natural.
And at the same time, the Liberator got taken out by those Stalkers, and 3 SCVs versus 3 Adepts. That's not great.
Yeah, damage done on both sides. What I really love is that they both attacked with that. Often you only see one player do damage and the other one moves out, but since they're both putting on pressure, neither has the other one's pressure alleviated. Like when you put on pressure, then you can be safe back at home or something like that. But with both being aggressive, it puts them in positions where they may not be 100% sure what the damage is done. And now Gumiho is going to try to capitalize off what he's done and go out for this relatively quick push to section off the natural from the third.
Right there, checking out a little bit above money, making sure that he uses his entire army versus a little bit of a delay on Gumiho using all of his army. And what I like even better is that he met them out into the field, making sure that those tanks can't get those devastating siege mode on.
Yeah, he met them and made sure to force field because you don't want to allow the Marines to stim up. But what you got to check out right now is we don't have stim, we don't have combat shields done for Gumiho. At the moment, he only has +1 and that only finished. Right now, the siege tanks are the brunt of this attack. It looks like the Blink Stalkers will blink straight up on top of them, snipes 2 of them. The medevac will survive, but it's only 1, and Gumiho has invested everything into that early siege tank attack. He does not have the bio support to make another attack happen right now, and that's allowed Seed to solidify his third base, get disruptors up, and Seed seems to be in a perfectly safe technological position, while Gumiho has been rebuked 2 times in a row now with 2 separate attacks.
No, that was a very nice hold, and that pretty much limits Gumiho to defensive role for the coming 1 or 2 minutes. Oddly enough, he has managed to, despite the fact that he hasn't got that third base, he does have, well, it's floating in now. He's got the SCV lead. So Seed needed to take a little bit of a back seat there, making sure he had enough of an army to deal with it, and his macro suffered for it. Now we've got Seed moving on in there, but no.
Oh, Disruptor's shot stutters for a second, anticipating that Gumiho is going to run into it, but it's not going to be the case. Seed pushes out. Nice force fields will push out some of these Marauders, basically disallowing them from stimming in, getting a better position. But that was a lot of force field used from Seed's main army. He does have a second Disruptor reinforcing, but he doesn't have as many spellcasters as he had originally, and now he doesn't have his vision on top of Gumiho's natural, between the natural and third.
Yeah, that observer really paying off in information warfare there. He saw exactly what his opponent was doing, saw that one tank, saw the other one down there as well. So knew exactly how far he could go, and then when to start kiting his opponent back. And Gumiho was, you know, kind enough to oblige and got cut off. Now it wasn't devastating, like he didn't get absolutely murdered there, but it was a nice play by Seed there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm liking Seed's position, but it's a very interesting position because, as I was saying earlier, he does have that upgrade leader. He did have that upgrade lead. He did have an army lead. But now, as you can just see, simply population-wise, we have 160 army supply. Check that 160 supply for Gumiho to the 125 of Seed, where Gumiho does have this distinct lead. He also actually has a lot of extra workers. He may have overmade them earlier, trying to compensate for how many he thought were killed. But this is a very interesting position. Seed was in a good position, but Gumiho has literally pulled himself up from the straps of his own boots.
Well, we've got him moving in there. And, oh, do we have an observer there? Nope.
Nice disruptor shot.
Who needs observer if you already know where those things are anyway?
Looks like Gumiho has a multi-pronged attack set up, some bio over on the left-hand side looking to stem into the natural, while 4, 5, 6 medevacs on the right-hand side, they're already ready. What's going to happen, Marsh?
Oh, he's got his chance to keep his where his opponent is, and oh, Seed is very much on top of that, but that overcharge is not enough to take that out. Now is in the wrong position, has to warp in, and that second group is going to stim on in there and do very bad things to...
And he snipes the robotics bay.
Ooh.
No way, he takes down the robotics bay. ETL is not done. Looks like we do see a disruptor shot go out, but the medevacs pick up the bio just in time. Simultaneously, Gumiho stims into Seed's third base, is going to kill the mothership core, goes for workers. 10 workers are killed, and right now, Seed's economy and technology is in shambles. Gumiho's ripping them apart.
Very brave to just pick up and go away under a bunch of Blink Stalkers, but Seed decided to take out those units on the third instead, and Gumiho got away with relatively unharmed. Did fly into a cannon right there, gets a little bit more damage done, and flies away. And most of all, uses all of this to put down a fourth.
Right now, Seed is terribly supply blocked. He wants to move out. He needs to move out, but Gumiho is keeping the tempo up. He's dropped the medevacs that attacked Seed's natural into where Seed's fourth base would be. He's got another army moving out. Gumiho is not going to alleviate the pressure off of Seed, and Seed cannot reinforce with the units he needs. He doesn't have any more Colossi or Disruptors or anything else with that. Once he uses a Disruptor shot, that's all he has. He's got one more Disruptor, and if either of them are taken down, he's going to be unable to hold this. It is 200 supply to the 160 of Seed. Seed is in dire straits.
Now we've got those Liberators moving on in there, making sure that you have to be oh so careful wherever you move your army, because any wrong, straying there just means that you get, what is that, 80, 90 damage, bloody hell, per shot. That will really ruin your day.
I love that we see the double Liberator. These Disruptors are generally forced out a little bit later in the game and not gotten so early for Seed, since you want to be able to reach past those Liberator ranges that they shut down, but it's not going to work out quite well for him because he doesn't have a lot of meat shield for the Disruptors. Small stim forward on the left-hand side to try to catch this Disruptor, while we have another attack on the right-hand side. By the way, I find this so fascinating that Gumiho is just not using medevacs to drop. He knows he can simply stim into the third base. He does not need to invest into those medevacs. But right now, all Liberators push forward, and they may just decimate this force.
Oh, wow, Liberators making absolute misuse, but there is still a lot of army there, and Gumiho comes in from the back, making sure to... No, doesn't get to Colossus. Colossus lift. Both Colossus lift, which means Gumiho still needs to be very careful about this engagement. There's just so much bios.
So many Marauders right now. In total, 20 Marauders, and they are shredding through this army. A couple Zealots have been warped in, and that forces Gumiho to take a step back, but after the Zealots are gone, they can simply stim forward, the Marauders can, and focus down all of the important robotics facility units on Seed's side.
It's got warping after warping of those Zealots, and they do a very good job of tanking for the army. And Seed does indeed bring this up, and with that blink, he gets on top of a bunch of medevacs and tanks. He lived through this. There is a saying which is, but at what cost? Because still the army supply of Gumiho 50% higher, and he's got that fourth base, that fifth command center is floating into a place where Seed is mined out on his main. He's pretty thin on his natural, and his third is oversaturated. The Seed can maybe withstand one more of these, but he's really gonna have to expand.
It's looking pretty grim for even one. Liberators siege up, and another force from Gumiho stims forward, looking for a nice angle. It's 80 army supply to the 60 of Seed. Seed's caught in a little bit of an awkward position right here, especially without Storm, but he does have charge. This is going to work fantastic against the heavy Marauder composition. Gumiho has almost opened himself a door into Seed's third base, though. Seed is boxed out from the ramp. He can't really defend in the prime optimal position.
Do we have a mothership core still active? Where is that? Hey, he's not moving that in. Those overcharges could really do a lot for Seed right there, but instead we've got Gumiho just taking position in his third base and just saying like, no, I live here now.
He's just waiting. Finally, storms are done, and he may have an opportunity. There's our first storm. We need to see a second and third on the main Marauder force, but the High Templars are just not in the proper position. There we go. Fantastic storms, but there's not going to be enough to clean up those injured Marauders. Looks like they're going to push through. Probes are pulled, and GG.
GG.
Gumiho takes game one I love that he didn't use medevacs. He just had ground-based heavy Marauder compositions, a really cool, innovative style right there. And on top of that, really a lot of that game stemmed out of the second harassment that Gumiho went for, that was all 6 or 7 medevacs went around Seed's third base, dropped into Seed's main, and then sniped the robotics facility. ETL is stopped, and really the entire Protoss momentum is shut down because you're trying to get up to Extended Thermal Lance, Colossi, and Disruptors, and it never was able to happen. He never had the weapons to fight back.
Yeah. Although, to be perfectly honest, with the amount of Marauders he had there, just going into straight Immortal production may not have been the worst choice for him there. But I agree, yeah, that drop really did him in there.